So there are some crazy predictions out there and some crazy people making even crazier predictions. So I found the craziest of them all. Randy Kirk is joining us over this 3 days of crazy with Randy Kirk. I'm Brian. Welcome to My Tesla Weekend. That's you, man. You're the crazy one. You shared with me some of your predictions for the year, and my friend, they are juicy. So juicy. So why don't we just get straight into it? By the way, if you're not following Randy Kirk over on Randy Kirk videos on YouTube, I don't know what you're doing. And frankly, there's so many of you, I don't know what you're doing. What are you guys doing? What are you up to? Got any plans later? Because I don't know. I might have a power outage because we have 100% chance of freezing rain today, and that does not go well with trees. So Randy had said, in Q1, there will be a huge increase in consumer-facing advertising. It'll be in video-based, guessing and hoping that it'll be on X, and you believe that Tesla stockholders will have no issue with Tesla paying lots of money for those ads. Double win. Tell me about that.
Well, okay, so they've hired all these people. They've hired an entire video team. Well, let's put it this way. They put out an advertisement that they wanted to hire an entire video team, including a producer and various mechanics, mechanical aspects of doing videos. So at this point, I'm thinking they've got that team hired. They've put them to work. We're starting to see a few videos popping out from time to time. They're professional. They're well done. So somebody said the other day they think they're experimenting at this point. Maybe if they're hiring those kind of pros, they shouldn't need terribly much opportunity to experiment. They should be able to kind of jump right in. But if whether they're experimenting or whether they're not, they should have the ability with a team like that to produce, I don't know, 3 videos a day. What do you think, Brian? That's how many I produce by myself. So, now, these are not at the level that Tesla needs to make them, of course. But I mean, it doesn't take much to have the B-roll. Yes. So if they do all that, then I think they should put them up on X, even though it's owned by Elon. He says it has the highest return on investment of anything you can do on social media right now. I think he's probably right. So test it on X, put it up on other social media if you want to too. They've already been testing YouTube in terms of advertisements on YouTube. And I don't know how that's been going, but they're testing that. They've been testing pay-per-click. So I mean, I think they have the team. Let's see if they can't. We just talked about on my channel. Maybe it's been out yet. I'm not sure. We were talking about they got a lot of extra capacity in Austin. Okay, let's move it. Move it. Videos. Lots of videos.
Sure. So 3 a day, I think, would be inconsistent with their objectives. That's not to say they couldn't do it. You look at somebody like Kyle from Out of Spec Motoring. He has a fairly small team of people who I assume are paid less than they would be at Tesla, or maybe about the same. And they have 15 channels of content producing, many of them producing every single day. So you've got a whole lot of opportunity there. Tesla could produce 3 videos a day. I don't think there's enough need or content to do that. Even 3 a week would be fantastic. And I would say that while paying for ads is helpful, producing the ads is the first part. And if you're producing them, you don't necessarily have to pay to run them. Look at the bot demo. They didn't pay to run that, and it got tens of millions of not just views, but people studying it, people analyzing it, people taking apart every part of it. People like me who looked at the windows and concrete columns and found the building in which it's being built because we're that into it. And if they were doing 3 a day, I think 3 a day is the wrong number, Randy. But if they were doing even 2 a week would be a huge improvement over what we've seen. And if each one had a theme, this is a 30-second spot on safety. This is a 30-second spot on traction control. This is a 30-second spot on anything really. It could potentially be a huge, huge benefit.
But you have all kind the content capability. I mean, in terms of being able to come up with enough content to do 3 a day or 5 a day or 10 a day, I don't think it's even remotely a problem. Again, you and I come up with a ton of content. You can do interviews, you can do technical videos, you can do this is how you take care of your car videos. You can do this is somebody people that have done weird things with their Teslas. You could do experiences in charging stations. I mean, I believe me, you give me an hour, I could give you maybe 100 or 150 titles of videos that they could do. Now you can do comparisons with other vehicles. I mean, it just goes on and on and on what they could be doing. And yes, more than three, doing 3 a day. Okay, they wouldn't all 100% be used for the same platforms. Some of those might be going on YouTube. Some of those might be going on, I mean, straight up on YouTube. That's it. Some of them might be going straight up on X without not as an ad. Some of them will be going up as an ad in various different formats.
Or TikTok.
All these different applications, or TikTok, all these different applications.
Yeah. And uniquely, they have access to the factories, to the executives, to the designers. It'd be neat, even if they had a series where we're going to talk with someone who does a thing. We're going to talk to this guy. What do you do? I do seatbelt tensioners. And these are the struggles and these are the, okay.
Right.
So I think we know they've hired a media team. We know that's a thing that's happening. Let's get to point. Your next one was at some point, those ads will be tested on streaming, maybe on Prime, who has just announced advertising will be starting on Prime, which is great because I already wasn't willing to deal with their user interface. Now I'm double disinterested, but maybe on lots of streaming products as the demographics are easier to know. Tell me about that.
Okay, so you do always have some kind of availability to check out the demographics when you're an advertiser. They'll tell you what that particular program is going to reach in terms of male, female, age groups, whether kids watch it, so you get some demographic information. But when you get into streaming videos, I don't know if you've noticed, even watching the football games over the weekend, sometimes you are getting local companies or smaller national companies advertising things like, would you like to get 100 t-shirts printed? This was not like big national companies like Target or Walmart or whatever. This was, smaller companies and local companies advertising in these football games, some of the biggest and most expensive, what you would normally think expensive venues. So you can get it really narrowed down into exactly who they know is watching. And again, my point would be, and somebody added this, I didn't think of this myself. I've been talking about the Midwest, or even more than the Midwest. It's actually everything but California and Florida, pretty much everything in between. But also somebody said women are making the Model Y purchase is definitely, more of a ladies' car. And number two is you've got the women are the ones that are most worried about range. And so you talk about the range and you talk about the benefits of a Model Y. I think you pick up a tremendous number of folks.
So the way advertising works, and I'm sure you know this, is let's say you've got a big national show. Half the ads are national, go to the network itself. The other half are local, go to the local station itself. That's why Clown O'Dan was able to run a Super Bowl ad last year that only ran in one small market in the Midwest, just so he could say he ran a Super Bowl ad. And by the way, I did swing by the Green Hills booth. I did not find Dan O'Dowd, but there was a lot of smudges of clown makeup, so I know he'd been there. So a lot of popped balloon animals that didn't make the cut. I assume he ran them over. But you can have local ads. So if you're trying to target the Midwest, don't buy a national ad, just put it on regionally and save a whole heap of money. And as long as the ads, I just need them to be not obnoxious. I need them to be compelling. There was a Porsche Taycan ad with Keanu Reeves. I did not find it annoying. I found it fun and interesting. There are other companies that go for quirky and fun. Jack in the Box is a good example. They make very fun ads. I don't think that's the approach Tesla should necessarily take. I think the CEO does quite enough joshing around for the entire company without introducing it into the ad space. So I think those sorts of streaming ads are definitely the way to go because they're more targeted. And as long as they remain sufficiently limited, people won't be annoyed, because I've
Right.
heard people say, in my life, have never bought a product I saw on an ad. Well, you say that, but that's not how advertising works, and it is always being tested for effectiveness. And if ads didn't work, they wouldn't exist. So
Yeah.
the
True,
third one
true.
we're going to cover in today, day one of 3 crazy days of Randy. And we could literally make this a 20-day series if you guys want. He's got enough crazy theories. I'm not exaggerating. Probably 15 days is how far we could go with this. If you guys love this and parts 2 and 3, tell me and we'll keep going. But here's here's the third one. Model 3 will be a massive hit in the US. It'll do fine in China and okay in Europe. The numbers will be so good in the US that Tesla will have to do workarounds to get more production, probably in Fremont. Part of the reason will be a simple value proposition. Look what you get in a Model 3 Plus that will be more than any other car remotely close in monthly outlay. Yeah, you can find, I'm sure you could find a handful of EVs that are comparable in value, but they can't actually scale them because they're losing money on each one. And total sale in the US will double in 2024 in the rate of sale by April. Randy, talk to me.
So you were the one. You brought it up to me. You said, Randy, did you know that there's still a big sedan market? And I was like, really? Oh, yeah, look at that. Honda, Toyota, all these guys are still selling lots of sedans. I'm a sedan guy. I bought my last sedan, a Volvo. I bought it because it was great looking, safe, very, very cool. It had the cool factor, fast as heck. Those are, and I was, I don't know what, I was 63 when I made that purchase, and I'm still wanting to buy a 300 horsepower car. All right, so I see that the Model 3, that is my kind of car. The Challenger is being eliminated. The Charger is being eliminated. I think his Camaro is already gone, right? I mean, all the muscle cars are gone. This is a combination. This is like a muscle car capability, has enough style to be good as a muscle car, and yet it is also a sedan that any mom could use with, feeling like she's driving a normal everyday car. It has such capabilities, and then what people maybe forget, maybe they just don't think about it. When you compare it to any equivalent car or any so-called equivalent EV, they don't even have, not one of them yet has over-the-air update. Not one of them has a romantic mode where you can have the fire going and the hot, warm air blowing on you. None of them have synchronized light shows. I mean, come on.
And we talked about this on your channel, but if a car can't play La Cucaracha as a lock tone, I just don't know who would buy it. I've got mine set as a screaming goat, which still makes me giggle weeks later. I am still getting joy out of it. And I parked it around Jeff, who has a Model Y and a Model X, and he hadn't played with that feature yet. So when the car, we were walking inside, my car locks, and he's like, now, what on earth was that? So I don't, I'm going to push back a little and say, I don't think people are buying because of those fun things, but the over the air update is magnificent. I have never in my life owned a car that got better after I bought it, unless I put different tires on it. And for it to just happen, for it to
To
just
get better.
get better, fix some little things, fix some big things. When the Model S there was a trailer hitch that rattled loose on the highway, got trapped under the car and pierced the battery. Tesla said, we know it's an issue. We're going to fix it. And everybody said, oh, great. Here we go. And they said, so you get a new plate that goes under the battery. It's going to be titanium because we just got to do something. Schedule it. We'll get it fixed. But in the meantime, your highway ride height is now 1 inch higher. We did that last night. It's done. That's unheard of. There was I don't remember if it was Motor Trend. One of the big ones said the stopping distance on the 3 is inadequate, 3 stars. And Elon said, if I fix that, will you retest it? And they said, as long as I don't have to go into a service center. He said, give us 3 days. And they said, okay, pushed it out fleet wide, tested again, and they said, holy smokes, 5 stars. 5 stars. You just fixed hundreds of thousands of cars with a software update because we happened to find a very unique case where it didn't perform as it was intended. 5 stars. Now, I will say on the Model 3, a reason people will choose a Model Y over a Model 3 is interior space. But a lot of
Sure.
people don't realize how much interior space there is in the Model 3. On the CarWow review, comparing it to the BYD Seal, they did a bunch of very logical tests and some very silly ones. One of the tests was, can me and my cameraman climb in the trunk comfortably? And in the BYD, it was very tight, but in the Model 3, they fit well enough that they could just kind of hang out and joke for 30 seconds or a minute while they were getting the shot. The trunk space is substantial. The Model 3 has the biggest frunk in its class. I know a lot of people love to brag about the frunk size on the Rivian and the Lightning, but they ignore that the Fisker Ocean has no frunk, that a lot of BMWs and Kias and Mercedes have no frunk or one that could barely hold a sandwich. So this is the space you get in a 3 is comparable to a lot of small SUVs. That's going to be a saving grace, and a Model 3 is more efficient.
And then you just get down to the monthly cost. And this is what has not been advertised. This is the thing we keep talking about. The advertising is necessary. You need to get the ads out that tell people this is going to cost you less per month by far than a Toyota Corolla.
Yes. Yes. There's nothing to replace. There's so few moving parts, and
No gasoline.
I've seen people who complain about the cost of tires, but I've also seen how they drive. And there's a couple that I know, Bert and Kelly, if you're watching, the two of them have a 3 and a Y, and the rate at which they go through tires is not equal to one another due to one of them having a bit of a lead foot. So, uh, yeah, and I won't say which one, but you know who you are. So, guys, what did we miss? What did we misunderstand? We got 2 more crazy days of Crazy Randy coming up crazy quick, and I can't wait. In the comments, leave it. You know what to do. Likey, subscribey, smacky thummy, all that good stuff. And stay tuned, stay juicy, and I cannot wait to hear from you, clever robots, all the time, which is when I'm doing these.